Instead of working on inputs and the processing, we usually work on the outputs kind of things. We are barely see that what I'm consuming or what I'm taking inputs, how I'm processing. We are simply trying to be fixing the output. You go to any kind of things, there is a learning model, there is a lot of things ultimately, but at the end there is a 3 processes only. Instead of working on inputs and the processing, we usually work on the outputs kind of things. We are barely see that what I'm consuming or what I'm taking inputs, how I'm processing. We are simply trying to be fixing the output, impact on the human mind of AI. That is what, and we need to be understand in cognition as well as psychological way. This is very, very important. You need to understand this is in a very perfect way. So there always be a chance you are came out of that, but वो loop को break करना बहुत जरूरी है, and it's not breaking. Why? Because हम continuously we are engaging our mind, continuously we are engaging our mind, and after 3-4 hours we are simply, our mind is completely full of fog, and we have anxiety. And
Om Shanti. Very good evening and warm welcome on this Sunday evening for another special talk of our series, Sunday's Refreshing Sunday Evening Talk. So how many of you have come for the first time? Great. So may I request you to take the first seats since you are here for the first time, and others also if possible. We can wait for a few more moments. We can come together and feel as a more closed group. Okay, great. So thank you so much. So for the benefit of those who are here for the first time, so you are here in Shanti Sarovar. It is one of the biggest retreat centers of Brahma Kumaris, which is an international socio-spiritual organization, and I must say it is the biggest spiritual organization that is run by women across the globe. So the organization has one vision and one mission, that is through self-transformation, bringing in a positive change or bringing in a transformation in the society. And we bring in the services of Raj Yoga meditation through different aspects and for different sections of the society. And it is the intent is that we each one work on ourselves to feel the change and become an example for those around us. So today our talk brings us to something which is very deep and very buzzing these days. What is it? AI. So our today's topic of this Sunday talk is AI, artificial intelligence versus soul wisdom. So this is something we will take in deep with our speaker, who is Dr. Ashwani Rana. Let us welcome him on stage. Dr. Ashwani Rana, so he is involved as a CEO of Vanix Technology. His professional life has been deep into deep tech. He has an PhD in electrical engineering from IIT Ropar. Thereafter, he has previously been also the CEO of Travier Technology. He has authored 15 plus research papers and is involved in various aspects of artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. So definitely an expert in AI. Apart from that, he is also been practicing Raj Yoga since 20 years. So he has the experience of balancing the pressures of leading tech in an ever-changing environment and also involving our inner wisdom through the practice of Raj Yoga. So that is why we have welcomed him to take us on a journey to bring in, or as AI is taking over the mundane tasks, let us elevate our roles by upgrading our inner wisdom. So how we can do that, we will be learning from Dr. Ashwani. So thank you, brother, for joining us. Over to you.
So very good evening. So the topic is AI versus soul wisdom. So the whole agenda of the topic is not to push you a lot of data, facts, but be relaxed. Though I am very closely working with the AI technology, as well as I'm practicing the Raj Yoga meditation also, so I feel I can share my experience in a better way with you. So in the whole journey, we'll stick to some of the basic things only, and then we'll see that how AI is taking over, and how soul wisdom is helping in the future. So I'll start directly with the strange question, or the strange journey with you. For example, imagine that there is an algorithm working inside you, or continuously running inside you, that's not on the chips, that's not on the cloud, that is not trained on billion data, but still it is running inside you. We'll set first the context of the lecture, and then we will go deep into to explore how exactly it's working. So that algorithm which is running inside you, there is no updates, there is no notifications, there is no subscriptions, and we rarely log in, but still it is completely continuously running in, correct? So today's world, machines are basically becoming very smart, and when AI overcoming into the machines, that becoming more intelligence. So if we look into the machines, today if you wanted to write a poem, they can write very beautifully. If you want to compose a music, they can compose music very beautifully. They can diagnose diseases also. Even they can imitate the human emotions also. So when we talk about the artificial intelligence, it's not artificial in terms of impact, because now it's driving us how we have to react, what we have to see, what we have to eat, how we have to behave, and how exactly it is impacting. So there exactly the topic is emerges, the thought are emerges, that how exactly we will going to be drive ourselves. Today we'll talk about AI, but in future, probably after 5 or 10 years, you'll see that there is a more technological advancements were coming, like AGI or ASI kind of things, correct? So it's very important that how we can maintain the balance between the AI and the soul wisdom. Again, to set the context, just feel and just see that there is two systems running in your mind. Just feel like one is an AI kind of mind, okay, where you taking every decisions based on data, based on behavior, based on the inputs, okay. If somebody told you, you are simply reacting. Why? Because your mind is trained with the past experiences, past data, or past things. But there is another system that is exactly running inside you, that is some quiet, no noise. Every time it questions you when you do something, whether I'm right or wrong, okay, whether I'm aligned with the values or not. So in scriptures also, in older data also, we always say that there is always a good and bad, correct? So the same way I'm trying to tell you that in AI language, there is a two kind of algorithms continuously running inside you, okay, and it's always depend on you whether the things are going right or wrong. So how many of you ever observe, and I think it is the experience of everyone who are sitting here, probably everyone who are sitting here, who have that observations, that if somebody told us in anger mode, so we instantly reacted, and then immediately we regret it. Oh, I shouldn't do that. It's happened obviously with everyone, obviously, okay. Many times it happens also same way, that somebody comes to you in the same way angrily, but you just pause for a minute and you said, okay, let it go, we'll talk later. That's also happened, okay. So this is always the two systems ultimately continuously running inside you, correct? Okay, so one systems which simply reacting based on the data. If I saw you, okay, you angrily talking with me, so I'm simply reacting with you. But sometimes what happened, actually what happened, you came to me again, I just take a pause, I see that why should I react in that way or not, okay. So today we'll talk about the tiny pause, where exactly the mastery begins, okay, where we are talking about how to master the inner algorithms, how to master the tiny pause, That is the basic that we are trying to be talk about it. Obviously, I'll talk about some of the facts also, that how exactly the technological landscape is changing, how exactly it is impacting our life, daily life, the way we thinking, the way we behaving, the way we habits, how exactly it's changing. And obviously the awareness is very important, because the technology is changing is so rapidly that it is impacting not our life, but exactly it is deciding that how the coming generation will react to the technology also. Okay, so this is the one thing. So from here we'll start this journey, and there we will try to be found out that how AI intelligence versus how exactly the soul wisdom is starting. So today's lecture will try to find only one answer completely. When this session will end, we all must, including me, we should go with one answer, and that answer is how much powerful you are. Okay, so let me start with this, how much powerful we are. So today when we talk about AI, so let's go to the past, previous things. Today we'll see that we have enough information in our hands if we compare to the previous generations. Everybody agree with this, correct? But when it comes to the clarity, when it comes to the vision, when it comes to things, it creates confusion also, because when you pushing so much data, so much information every time, so that's create a complexity also, correct? Okay, but I'll tell you that how exactly technology is evolving, and there always be one common fundamental things ever there. Okay, when we talking about industrial revolutions, it happens in early 70s, early 1700s. I'm talking about not 70s, early 1700s. The industrial revolution comes. When there is an industrial revolution comes, so that is a mechanical revolutions come something somehow. So there all that time what exactly happens, always a chaos, anxiety around the world, that now the industrial revolutions will be happening. So probably there is a possibilities that the humans are not required as much as possible. Okay, what happens as the industrial revolution comes, we are coming with the new jobs, we are coming with the new skills, and something new created for our world. This is one thing happen. Okay, when we actually came out of that industrial revolutions, what exactly happened? The second revolutions coming, that is called electricity revolution. So that is also early, late early 1900 or late 1800 also. There also everything is actually from that industrial revolutions changes into automations kind of things. Okay, now every machines where the humans were working there, now it will be going to be replaced with, why? Because electricity come into the pictures. Again, if you go into that era, you'll see that there is a lot of chaos in the world that time. There's a lot of confusion that time. There's a lot of things were there, this happened, that happened, but again the human role changes, correct? Again that era we passed out. You might be amazed that when once in the late 90s or maybe early 90s, when the calculator came, today we'll see the calculator, the biggest chaos happened around the world. Most of the mathematician peoples and all are came together, and they said that the calculator is I'm not talking about computer, I'm talking about simple calculators. Okay, this is something the danger and the end of the humanity. And this whole things actually lasted for 2 to 3 years. Why? Because that will end up with the jobs, and this whole chaos came into India also somehow. But that era also we covered after 1970 to 80. That is the era of computers. It's not the era of internet, but that is the era of computers games. And that time also the chaos and everything's happening, and somehow we survive ultimately. Okay, everything's. And you before early or very early 2000s or very late 1900s, when the internet era started. So obviously whenever there is a technological evolutions happens, we have to be adopted. So then there is a chaos and all these things. Today we'll see the same thing is AI, but it's something different. Why? Because when we look into from 1700 to 1900 or early 1900s, every technological revolution is just assistance us to us. You understand? It's not interfering our personalities ultimately. Okay, whether it is electricity, whether it is internet, or whether it is a computer, a calculator, somehow exactly it is evolving with the humans. Okay, how exactly the technology evolving, but now the things are bit changing. The changing means what? When it comes to intelligence, now it is interfering with our intelligence ultimately. Now exactly it is interfering that how we will think, how we will eat, how we will behave. So up till now, whatever the technological revolutions happened or how we evolved, correct, but the AI is somehow it's very different ultimately. So I won't say that it's not going to be impact our life, but obviously there is a chaos, and that will going to be happens. Nobody will be get away from it. Along with that, now previously what happens, the technological evolutions happen slow. For example, electricity is coming, or the internet era is coming, so it's for the decades ultimately. So early 2000 or up to 2010s, once in a year or 2 year or 3 years, one technology coming around that ultimately. But in AI there is one more challenge is coming, that today what is the updates you have. I can telling you surely that tomorrow if you going and open your computer, you have a different technology evolution. It's changing so fast. It's not changing based on months, it's not changing based on weeks, but it's changing daily, and some people feels that it is scary. Okay, so now the question is this: when exactly it is interfering our internal personality ultimately, it's somehow interfering our thinking level. So how to cope up with that? Okay, again, when we go for 3 and 4 more years, so now the people are predicting about AGI and ASI. Today, if you look into the 90% of the intelligence, how exactly it is simply somehow impacting our jobs. You are just putting something, you are getting something, ultimately you are telling something. But when it coming to AGI, ultimately artificial general intelligence, okay, so that where actually AI try to be behave like a humans. It try to be implicate the emotions. Okay, and when it's believed that when ASI will coming, that is called artificial super intelligence, so it will surpass somehow human mind also. Okay, so obviously there is a lot of hot debates and topics and everything's going around the world, that how to be cope up with that ultimately. This is something the reality. But there is always a good news when there is a bad news, obviously, correct? Okay, and the good news is this, that whatever, whether it is a AGI or ASI will come into the picture, or whether it is AI today I'm talking about, the creation of these everything is human only. Okay, so when it comes to experience, correct, when it comes to experience, when it comes to use of the creativity, still many debater and many people who are actually the founder of AI, they still believe that human will be more relevant in that context, correct? Second thing is this: whatever the eras we saw from 1700 to 2010, 2026, we saw that somehow we able to survived. Okay, and that's how we do. But now the real challenge is that previous generations we got some time to evolve ourselves, but now the time is limited, the things were limited, and we have to evolve very very fast. That's the question, and that is the things actually we need to be working out. But the good news is that whenever the systems become easy, human life become complex. This is the fundamental rule. If everything around me done by AI, so I'm free, and when I'm free, I'm curious. When I'm curious, I'm trying to do something more better ultimately. Okay, and then I'm trying to find some other things ultimately. That is always a good news. So the whole point here it is this, that whether in the next, I'm talking about next 10 year or 20 year, when the AGI or ASI will come, it's believed to that 2047 or 2050 when ASI will come into the picture. So whether the humans are relevant or not, that is the question. Okay, and the good news is this: obviously we always be relevant. only the thing is this, how we are evolving ourselves through the technology so that we can survive in a better way. That is the question. In 2000, those who are actually a bit more than 30-35 years, they know that before 2007s, in mobile era, Nokia is the great experience and having a great market share in India. But today if you go to market and tell that give me a Nokia phone, it's hardly to find out. Okay, and if you look into the point of way, when exactly Nokia CEO came, so he said that we didn't do anything wrong, but somehow we lost it. Okay, so the point here it is this, it's very important that we have to be somehow find out and evolve ourselves into that point of view. Okay, again going to the next slide, or to be explore more details, let's understand the fundamental rule, whether it is tomorrow we go into the AGI, whether for ASI or whether for AI. There is a 3 fundamental rule for any technologies. In AI, basically it's happened very perfectly, and how our human mind is work also in that same way. Now if you're talking about why we are giving the name, it's to intelligence. It's nothing but it's artificial intelligence, but what we are trying to be imitate our human behavior ultimately, correct? What we are trying to do, हम लोग completely human brain बनाना चाहते हैं कि at any situations how human brain can work in this conditions, how we will going to be behave. For example, अगर ये situation आती है तो if I have to be talking to him, so how he will replicate to me. But the basic fundamental is this all things what we are making, it is based on the data only. This is the only one thing. Okay, so there is a 3 things which is AI trying to be work it. So you have input, you have process, and you have output. That's it. You go to any kind of things, there is a learning model, there is a lot of things ultimately, but at the end there is a 3 processes only. You have inputs, you are giving billions and billions and billions of data input there, correct? There is a models which is process basis think, taking the parameter and all these things and giving the output. This is how exactly happening. For example, today you go to any tools of AI, any tools, Claude, GPT or any tools, and if you write that create a image, beautiful image of this that way, that is the input you are giving. So this is the input. What exactly will happen? The model will go, it will run, it will chase whatever, it will take everything into the internet, whatever there is ultimately, and what exactly happen, it will create a beautiful image according to you. The same way human also working, same way. When I'm telling about inputs, what exactly inputs? What we are consume daily. Okay, what we are consuming daily, what kind of peoples around us we are actually spending daily. Okay, what kind of environment we are living. Okay, this is the input for the human mind also. Okay, when we talking about the processing, how we process it ultimately, how we interpret the things ultimately, and this is again based on the data, based on the pattern, based on the things ultimately. For example, if I know this guy and tomorrow if he behaving very well with me, so what I'm going to do, I simply look at him and smiles. So that smiles immediately comes where? Because somehow I fed the data, okay, this guy I met previously and this is how exactly the things, and automatically the outcome comes, our habits, our behavior, our things and all these things. But here the difference between the AI and the human is coming a very perfect way, and where exactly we are making the difference, where we have to be see ourselves that how we can change ourselves. So when we talking about the algorithms, if we have to do work the algorithm in a very best way, so what we trying to do, we try to work on the model, correct? We are trying to work on the ground truth also, means what kind of data I'm feeding to the AI, correct, how I'm processing that, and then based on that output is changing accordingly. Okay, but when it comes to humans, we doing exactly opposite. Instead of working on inputs and the processing, we usually work on the outputs kind of things. We are barely see that what I'm consuming or what I'm taking inputs, how I'm processing. We are simply trying to be fixing the output. That is the only difference between the intelligence and the human things. At the end, what I'm trying to tell you that whenever whatever the progress will happen in next 5 or 10 years, ultimately we have to be go into these 3 processes only. Okay, for example, I'm telling you, for example, you have a habit of sleeping late at night. This is your habit ultimately, and when you actually wake up in the morning, it's always be a foggy in the brain, and you'll see that yaar mujhe maza nahi aa raha hai. That is the output. So what we are trying to do, we're trying to sleep early. We are not fixing the input, we are not fixing the process. What we are trying to do, we are fixing the outcome. So what we are trying to do, instead of sleeping at 11:30 p.m, हम क्या करते हैं, we are trying to sleep at 10:30. Still at 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, whatever the timing, जब भी आप उठते हो, still you are feeling that fogginess, still you are feeling that tiredness, still you are feeling that मजा नहीं आ रहा. Why? Because again you are trying to be changing the output only of the things. But the whole day, how exactly you are going, you are not talking about. For example, I'm taking my example, I'm not actually blaming you guys. For example, if I'm daily consuming the reels on Instagram daily for 4 and 5 hours, okay, so whether I'm sleeping for 8 hours, whether I'm sleeping for 9 hours or 6 hours, ultimately the end result will always be same. What is the results? When I wake up in the morning, it's always be fog in the brain ultimately. Why? Because I'm not at all actually looking into the inputs, what I'm trying to say ultimately. But in real AI, exactly how the things will work, if there is something not coming perfectly as per our expectation, the output, what we are trying to do, we are trying to change the input also, we are trying to change the model also. Okay, here it is the problem, here is the boundary condition, yahan par mujhe aise change karna, this is the change, and then the outcome changes. But when it comes to humans, we are simply changing the outcome, we are simply progressing towards the outcomes. So in this whole session, we'll try to see that how we can impact on the inputs, how we can change the input and the process, conditioning ourselves, and then so that our habits changes accordingly. You understand or not? So I think now the context of the lectures you already understood correctly. Okay, now let's go to this is the basic things, but still. The real problem obviously never a AI. Always remember this. The real problem never a technology. There always be debate whenever the technologies came into the existence. Any technology, you go from 1700 to 1900s. Today we are talking about AI, but any technologies will say that technology having pro and cons. Technology having this problem, that problem. But any technology you are talking about, every technology came for humankind only. For well-being of humanity only. It's all depend on the process into the mind, that how we actually using the technology. Simple as this. Okay, it's all depend on that. In the mobiles, I'm listening the podcast or I'm listening the reels. Ultimately, it's all depend on the human minds ultimately. But when we are making any technology, it's always well-being for the humanity only. But the real problem is our inner state. How our inner state is this, and if we are not correcting the inner state, that will going to be hunt us into the future. So where exactly we have to be focused. So today we'll talk about how exactly as AI changing day by day, how the stress and anxiety, fear of job loss, and these are the realities actually. Ultimately we cannot run away from that. How exactly when we are comparing with the machines, ultimately now there is a lot of results are coming out. If you go into the US, the cloud is the company who are now actually comparing the human with the machines, comparing the machine, how exactly it will going to be behave, how it will going to be human. They are putting these things ultimately. Now the things are coming in such a way that AI itself now knowing that I'm into the test mode, simulation mode, or I'm really into the practical mode also. So at that level actually no AI is going ultimately. But at the end, loss of purpose also, that is some of the things which exactly emotional burnout. Sometimes what we are thinking, okay, we are working so hard and all these things, but at the end AI is doing better than us ultimately. So these are some of the things which we are talking about. And we saw the real examples of human losing human connection also. And for that you can say that now sudden tech layoff is happening. So when the sudden tech layoff is happening, the company who are actually making billion of dollars, but when they are actually layoffing the peoples, they never think about you or others ultimately. This is just the end of these things. That is how ultimately happening. A student college, there is a huge, if you go into the American industry institutes, even in India also IITs, now professor are facing problems that how student are using the AI kind of tools ultimately. social media, deep tech, and misinformations. Today, if you go into the any mobiles in your hand, you cannot tell that this information is right or wrong. It's very hard to say ultimately that kind of things, and this is somehow creating a chaos into the systems. Again, there is a digital arrest that you heard about it ultimately. So there is a lot of things actually happening, and that's somehow creating the things. But now we have to be understand that what is the impact of human mind, impact on the human mind of AI. That is what, and we need to be understand in cognition as well as psychological way. This is very, very important. You need to understand this is in a very perfect way. So the major problems we had, what we are trying to do and what we are doing wrong today, that is called cognitive offloading, or we are calling it the outsourcing effect. This is the major problem, and that somehow we are limiting our mind in that way. What is the cognitive offloading? Means very simple. You go to the previous generation. If I'm asking you, anybody of you sitting, when mobiles was not there, we having the landline, so we having a fingertips 10 number हमें याद होते थे. But once the mobile came, we simply offload that memory to the mobiles कि this is not my work, now you are my partners, इसको याद रखो. So what exactly we did? We simply limited our memory to that ultimately, correct? Today same things happening with the AI also. Ultimately we are trying to do everything offloading. For example, if somebody told us that ki write a good poetry if you are interested, so what we are trying to, we are never think on it. Ultimately we simply go into the toolbox, we are putting in this, and we simply offload it to this things. So what we are trying to do, we are simply putting our brain on rest every time. You understand or not? हम लोग अपने ब्रेन को बहुत ही रेस्ट पे लेके जा रहे हैं. That is how exactly the things, and I'm giving you the very real example of this ultimately, that how it impacted many people ultimately. Today if I'm giving you an example कि मुझे इसके ऊपर analysis चाहिए, just give me the analysis on that. Ultimately what we will do, we again go to the tools and we will say that कि this is the condition, that is the condition, and we are proficient in writing the prompts. Ultimately again whole things we offloaded to the tools. We simply now outsourcing our brain capacity ultimately, and that is somehow limiting us. So that's why how we will remember, that is the fact ultimately, and you all are agree with this. अब हमारे पास mobiles हैं ultimately. If I'm asking you, tell me the 10 closest numbers you had, I don't think so any one of, including me also, I'm not asking you, including me also, I cannot tell even the 10 numbers, because that's what we are offloaded these things. If I'm asking you 5 numbers, you cannot tell. That's how exactly we just stop our brain ultimately in that way, because we simply offloaded into the things around that ultimately. Okay, and that somehow impacting our life in a great way. Now you look into this. Previously when it comes to the music, okay, today also the news coming over that, and that is the real example of Indian music industries. Previously the whole musicians, okay, we having a lot of things, tabla and all these things, there's a huge demand. But from the report of Times of India last year, 70% of the musicians are now struggling to work. Why? What's the reason? Because if I need to create any music, I can create any music through AI ultimately. Understand? So same way how exactly happening. So that creativity, the things that all are offloading. So what we are trying to do, we have to be evolve with respect to technology. But what we are doing wrong, we simply sitting relaxed and we saying that okay, now there is a AI, I will sit relaxed and it will do my work. Okay, so how you will going to be remember the things? You simply offloaded everything to that. That is the one thing. And because of that cognitive offloading or the outsourcing effect, there is a risk is associated with this. And the first risk is cognitive entropy. And this is one of the biggest problems that is maximum happening with the people. In US, there is a group of neuroscientists, and they studied some of the peoples who are actually using the tools very heavily. Okay, so their scientists find out this term cognitive entropy. So cognitive entropy is the term which is used that we are somehow weakening our ability to think, to reason, to question ultimately. Why? Because every time there is a technology which we are using and we are not at all worrying about it ultimately. So that's how exactly. For example, if I'm asking you to write something, so you will go to the tool, you write ultimately. So what that means, you are not enough curious, correct? So you are not questioning, you are not aligning yourself. If I'm telling you just write a paper over that ultimately, so previously what we are trying to tell, I'm telling you before 2017 when I done my PhD, what exactly, if I have to do some research, ultimately we have to go to the internet, we have to read almost more than 500 papers, and we have to be put our mind completely on that ultimately, correct? And that is one happened. What exactly happened, now I have to write the paper. So what exactly we do need to do, हमें वो पेपर को स्ट्रक्चर में रखना पड़ता था कि अच्छा ये चीज़ यहाँ आनी चाहिए, ये चीज़ ऐसे आनी चाहिए, ये चीज़ ऐसे आनी चाहिए. But because of the offloading impact or the outsourcing effect, what exactly happening, we are simply putting the tool, वो structure भी बना के दे रहा है. So that means what, we are not questioning our thoughts also. Let it be. I'm not saying at all we don't have to use the tools, frankly I'm speaking, because I'm the one who are using the AI very much. But the point here it is that now for the structuring also we are seeing that कि यार ये AI ने किया, this is much be better automatically. So वो जो structure है उसको भी हमने limit कर दिया. Look at the things. So ability to think तो हमने कर ही दिया, because जो analysis करने थे वो तो आ ही गए, लेकिन मुझे जो structure करना है that also gone. That structure is also gone. So somehow what exactly happened, this cognitive entropy, and this is where the neuroscientist warning everybody who are using, and that's why because of this research of neuroscientists and the debates are started, and the peoples are coming with the ethical use of AI, and now the policies are being driven into the institutions and things that how exactly we need to be limit the use of AI and kind of things. So the point here it is this, that every technology is having pro and cons also, but this is the one risk. This is very, very associated. Second risk is aspirational narrowing, and this is the one of the biggest problem. That's what I'm trying to say. When we're talking about the technology's revolution from 1700 to 1900s, probably that was not much problems, but today the problem is it's somehow interfering our personality. So aspirational narrowing, that means what? This is a psychological impact. Again, a lot of psychiatrists and psychological peoples having research over this aspirational narrowing, how exactly AI impacting on this. So what is this aspirational narrowing? That means that doesn't make you less intelligent, but we are not much willing to try. For example, if I gave you a work that ki do this poetry, so you may go to the tool and you think that AI can write better than me, so why should I try ultimately? So somehow what exactly happened, we are actually aiming less. And when we are aiming less, we always achieve less itself only, because any times when we are doing something, we simply comparing with the tools ultimately. For example, okay, so along with that, again what happens, we are somehow narrowing our aspirationals ultimately. So what exactly, it's not making you less intelligent ultimately, but this is the phenomena where you not at all trying. Ultimately, today, if I'm telling you that I need to write an email, correct? This is that email. 90% of us, I know that will go to the things and will write a beautiful email around that ultimately. Why? Because we thought that somehow in subconscious mind only that कि यार मेरे से तो better AI लिखेगा ही लिखेगा. It's better way ultimately. So हम लोग वो thought भी नहीं दे रहे हैं structuring में. So we are somehow narrowing our thinking, aspirational narrowing, and that is somehow psychologically impacting us in a very, 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 very big way. That is the problem. This is the second risk that is associated when we are talking about this cognitive offloading, offloading or outsourcing effect. This is the danger thing. The third, which is the risk associated, is digital dementia or attention, loss of attentions. And this is the term which is very, very important. And there is one lecture in I don't know whether you attended it or not, that is called digital wellness. Actually it has happened in our Brahma Kumaris. So there you will learn this digital dementia attention problem in a very detailed way. But this is one of the problems. What is called digital dementia? It is something where your brains adapt continuous scrolling and thinking. We are not stopping it all. You just imagine, I'm telling you, when you go for 10 or 15 years back, we have 3 or 4 hours movies, something like this. Today we are trying to make at 30 seconds, 10 seconds, still we are simply scrolling it out. How exactly our mind is switching so fast? Continuously it is on go, the kind of things ultimately. Why? Because we are losing. If I'm telling you that listen 2-3 podcasts daily for 1 hour, it's rarely, until it's not very, very, very impactful, or it's not associated with your work or something, you won't going to listen. Why? Because again, second thing is you just listen. How we are trying to do the multitask. Once it is on the mobile phone, we are reading the email, immediately we go into the notifications fast. We are switching, we scrolling, and we really don't know when this 1 hour went, 1.5 hour went. It's continuously impacting our life. So that is what exactly the digital dementia. And this term is nothing but declining a memory or cognitive ability due to overuse of digital tools. We don't feel that, but this is how exactly it happens ultimately. We simply giving the tools, whether it is mobile or iPad or something, anywhere to the people, and we also using that ultimately. But because of that, what happens? You continuously losing the streak of thinking. Continuously. Why? Because we are habituated with this. And once I'm including myself, also I'm telling you, this is the experience we all daily doing, that once we start scrolling, we really don't know when the device is, or when the 1 hour or 1.5 hour went. This is something the problem ultimately. So what happened? Simply we offloaded the things to the outsourcing to the technology, and these 3 associated risks. And why it is happening? Because we storing the information into the device, not into the brain. पहले क्या होता था कि हमें कोई कुछ बोलता था कि ओके ये काम करना है, सो बट वी आर जस्ट पुटिंग द रिमाइंडर, ओके दिस इज समथिंग, वी हैव समथिंग. अभी कुछ फाइंड आउट करना, व्हाट वेयर वी आर गोइंग फॉर द गूगल अल्टीमेटली. पैसे ऐसे नहीं होता था, वी आर जस्ट गिविंग द कॉल एंड ओके अच्छा बताइए व्हाट वी कैन डू इनटू दैट. वी आर जस्ट पुटिंग द थॉट्स अल्टीमेटली इनटू दिस. बट नाउ व्हाट हैपेंड, इट्स समथिंग. And because of that, we are not putting our brain continuously onto the engagements. Our memory is weakened. Our memory is completely weakened, and research shows that the children who are under the age of 12 years or probably 14 years, and the people who are above the age of 40 years, if they overuse of the digital like mobiles or these things, the risk of memory weaken is very, very, very high chances into them ultimately. So you just imagine that the technology we made, this is we make for ourselves ultimately. But the first and worst thing what we did, we simply offloaded our whole memory to them. हमने बोला कि हम कुछ नहीं करेंगे, आप करिए, you are my friend, that's why you do everything, हम लोग बैठेंगे. This is what exactly we are trying to do, and that's the biggest problem we are trying to do. Okay, so we have to be think कि हम लोग कैसे करेंगे इस चीज़ को. There is a way to overcome of these things. There is a one beautiful thing is this, that human mind is so powerful कि at any condition, कोई भी condition में जाए, there always be a possibility to bounce back. There is always the possibility to bounce back. So we have to be think that how we can do. Now this is before going to the solutions, here exactly the study, this study is actually really happened on the chat GPT, and the MIT did this study ultimately. What exactly happens, they took the participants around 444 colleges, educated professionals from different areas like marketing, HR, data analysis, they took. And what exactly they divided this into two groups ultimately. Okay, so one is called treatment group, had access to chat GPT. Okay, so they told that you have the access of chat GPT, and the one other group is control group, which no chat GPT is allowed. This is the real studies happening in 2024 actually ultimately. Okay, so what happened, procedure is what exactly the whole MIT study is, that each participant competed in 2 rounds of writing task. Example, any writing, drafting memos or anything writing task. Okay, and then there is a evaluations happen. Independent domain expert graded the outcome ultimately. So for example, let's say there is a 2 group peoples. Let's say I told you that you can use chat GPT, I told you cannot use chat GPT, and told you that write on electrical machines. So assuming that I'm the expert in the electrical machine, then I have to be evaluate about your results ultimately. So this is the study happened by MIT just recently, the launch of ChatGPT after 2022. So what they exactly observe. So in that expert domains, obviously there is technical experts also, and there is neuroscientists also there, medical experts also there. So they found very interesting thing is this. In MIT study, participant had their brain scanned while using ChatGPT. Okay, so when you writing something, let's say it's given to you that कि ये task करना है, तो आपका भी brain को क्या किया गया, scan किया गया, and the other brain is also scanned. That is 47% drop in neural engagement. Now this is again a very deep topic. I'm not going into that ultimately, but I'm giving you the basic around that ultimately. When we having a thinking process into the brains, we having neurons ultimately. Okay, and when there is a neurons, they are communicating with each other, and then they are putting into some decision ultimately. What it means in a very layman terms, if I'm trying to tell you that कि अगर हम बहुत अच्छा सोच रहे हैं और completely अपने brain को दिमाग में के use कर रहे हैं, तो what exactly our neuron are fired each others, और वो बहुत useful होता है ultimately. That is somehow the layman terms. So those people are actually using chat GPT. That there is a 47 drop in neural engagement. So you can see that the one brain and the other brain is there. So the other brain is where exactly you can see the neuron, that red one, where exactly a lot of neuron and all these things, that is where the chat GPT are not allowed, those guys, and the other people where exactly they are allowed to use the chat GPT. So what they found out, 83%, it's huge number, 83% of user couldn't recall a single sentence they are written just minutes earlier, those who use ChatGPT. 83%. This is something, the astonishing facts coming around that ultimately. In contrast, those writing without ID had no trouble remembering. आप सोचो, this is the study that happened in 2023, and that is the results. So 83% people couldn't remember single sentence. But what happens, others, they could remember everything around that. So there they again finding out that even after stopping chat GPT also, in later session, the user showed continuous under engagements. Why? Because your neurons are trained in that way itself only, correct? That is where exactly we said that cognitive weakening is happening. And once that cognitive weakening is happening, what exactly happens? You are not will think in a critical way. Now we can think, is it really matters? Yes, it is really matters. For example, I'm telling you, if I'm using, I'm an example, if I'm in an office, if I'm using everywhere tools, correct, to think, to analysis, to everything ultimately, but when I will going to be set into the real meetings, I cannot do negotiation with the other parties, because the way, the ability of thinking, the aspirational things, the risk which we associated earlier, that will somehow weaken my mind completely, correct? So I cannot produce that things ultimately. Now today you may feel that कि यार मुझे बहुत मजा आ रहा है, मैं तो रोज tools use करता हूँ, मैं तो रोज off source करता हूँ, I'm just enjoying the things. But these things come into the picture when actually the real situation comes, the out of the box situation comes, where exactly you have to be really put your brains. For example, today if you don't have any mobile ultimately, and you have to be call someone 1 2 3 4 5, maybe you cannot remember. There you will feel that, because automatically you already weaken your memory automatically, obviously before that. So they find that even after that also they couldn't. The performance remained lower than those who never used AI. So they took these two things, they put into under AI, one is not allowed using AI, and they find out these results. And this is the results are one of not. This is the top college in all over the world, and they use this ultimately. So where we started, there is the impact on mind, cognitive as well as psychological, where the three risks we found out. And this is already proven scientifically also. So this suggests more than dependency, it's cognitive weakening. We are somehow daily we are weakening our memory, and this is all resulting into our relationship, into our the way we work, our habits, and everywhere. Now I'm telling you one thing. For example, if you wanted to change one habit, but sometimes हम बोलते हैं यार मुझे वो inspiration नहीं आ रहा यार. Let's say if you have to do something, मुझे सुबह I have to be wake up early in the morning 6 a.m. I have to hit the gym and then I have to start my day. You are thinking this from last 3 years, still you couldn't do that ultimately. Why? Because somehow you are technological addicted, guys, and there is the problem ultimately, and we have to be come out of that. That is the things. Now obviously when we talking about AI, I already told you that AI changed the world suddenly, but the real damage happened when minds were unprepared. Today obviously some people are 30, some people are 35, some people are 40, 50, correct? But the way technology is changing daily, it will going to be very, very tough, and if the things are not happen correctly, it will be a problematic. So minds were unprepared, that will be a problematic. Emotions were unmanaged. This is the problems ultimately. Today I'll give you some of the real examples how exactly it happens. Values were unclear. Today you look into this, how if the values were not clear, how AI can be dangerous to the humanity. This is how the things. Recently you heard about the ethical guy who actually the part of Claude who simply resigned from that. And he's from an Indian guy only, and he is the CTO or something of that who's handling all the things. Why? Because there is no ethical or no framework of AI usage ultimately done. I'll give you one more examples that you heard the news today, how the global power are shifting and all these things. So as again one of the company, Claude, actually said no to the US defense company that you cannot use the AI for that. There is a reports also that they use this AI for somewhere also in that, and that happened, damaged the things ultimately. So technology is never a problem. So first of all, it's very, very important all of us that कि हमारे साथ प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि हम डिनाइल मोड में रहते हैं कि नहीं कुछ नहीं होगा, चलता है, ये सब ऐसे ही है, बकवास है, ये सारी चीज़ें, until one day the termination letter not landed on my table. We simply feel that कि नहीं चलता है, this is not a problem at all. You understand or not? So the point here it is just first prepare your mind and then manage the things accordingly ultimately. So spiritually prepared human for sudden change. So spirituality plays here a bigger role. So we'll come into the later. But before going towards spirituality, first we need we saw the risk. Okay, this is the problem we are actually facing. What we are doing, we are simply outsourcing effect we are doing, correct? Now we have to be AI proof our critical thinking, and this is very important. For example, if somebody coming to me and asking कि यार ये ऐसे कैसे किया जाए इस तरह से, so I need a critical thinking ना. अगर मैंने अपने mind को 2 साल से बोला कि you just go on to the rest, तो suddenly तो नहीं उठेगा ना. Obviously I have to be prepare him, correct? So the first thing is this, we call the first principle method, and that is we call cognitive friction. हमारा प्रॉब्लम क्या है? द प्रॉब्लम वी सॉ कॉग्निटिव एंट्रोपी और कॉग्निटिव वीकनिंग. सो हमें कॉग्निटिव फ्रिक्शन क्रिएट करना है कोई भी चीज़ को लेके. दिस इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. व्हाट इट मीन्स, I'm not saying that don't use the tools and all these things. Use the tools in a very good way. Use the tools ultimately. But again, challenge your mind continuously that कि यार ऐसे नहीं ऐसे हो सकता क्या. Just put your mind into the thought around that ultimately. Otherwise, how the things will happen? You understand or not? So it's very very important that कि हम वो friction कैसे create करते हैं. If we are not creating the friction and if we simply offloading कि नहीं यार ठीक है चल जाता है, दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम विल बी हैपन्स. ओके, सो आई गिव यू रियल एग्जांपल. मैं कल का ही एग्जांपल देता हूँ. आई हैव टू बी गिव समवन, कुछ गिफ्ट्स देना था मुझे. ओके, सो आई वाज टॉकिंग टू समवन इन नाइट एंड आई टोल्ड देम कि मुझे कॉल करना और याद दिलाना, मुझे ये कुछ गिफ्ट है, किसी को देना है, मेरे पास पड़ा है 4-5 दिन से. इट्स आई एम रिसेंटली टॉकिंग अबाउट यस्टरडे नाइट ओनली. सो जिससे मैं बात कर रहा था उन्होंने बोला जस्ट पुट अ अलार्म ऑन दैट. ठीक है, आई थॉट दिस इज़ अ ग्रेट आइडिया, लेट्स पुट अ अलार्म ऑन दैट. मैंने अलार्म पुट कर दिया प्रॉपर तरीके से. सेकेंड वे ऑफ द थिंकिंग इज दिस कि भाई आप कल जब भी आप बाहर जाओगे यू आर ऑलवेज टेकिंग द लैपटॉप विद यू. ओके, सो व्हाट आई डिड, मुझे फिर भी वो भरोसा नहीं हुआ अलार्म से. व्हाट आई डिड अल्टीमेटली, दैट बॉक्स ऑफ गिफ्ट्स आई केप्ट इन ऑन माई टेबल, दैट वर्किंग टेबल जहाँ पे मेरा लैपटॉप रहता. सो आई थॉट दैट कि जब भी मैं लैपटॉप उठाऊंगा वो मुझे सामने ही तो दिख जाएगा, सो आई कैन टेक इट आउट दैट अल्टीमेटली. अगेन आई डोंट हैव एनी कॉन्फिडेंस कि पता नहीं जल्दी जल्दी में वो भूल ना जाऊँ मैं. सो व्हाट आई डिड, आई पुट दैट बॉक्स इन टू माई नॉट कार इनटू द माई बैग, लैपटॉप बैग, कि लैपटॉप तो बैग में ही लेके जाना है अल्टीमेटली. करेक्ट. सो सम हाउ इट विल ऑल्सो कम. अब वो देंगे नहीं देंगे दैट्स अ डिफरेंट मैटर अल्टीमेटली. आई एम टेलिंग यू यस्टरडे ओनली. एंड इट वॉज अराउंड 11:30, 11:45 एंड आई वॉज जस्ट सिटिंग एंड थिंकिंग दैट कि हाउ डम्ब आई बिकम मैन, हाउ इट कैन बी पॉसिबल कि मुझे याद ही नहीं रहेगा. बिकॉज द पॉइंट हेयर इट इज दिस कि वी आर इन टू द ऑफिस, आई एम वर्किंग डेली विद मैनी पीपल्स, आई एम एनालाइजिंग द डेटा, डूइंग द थिंग्स, आस्किंग अपडेट्स, एवरीथिंग हियर एंड देयर. आई couldn't remember that things. So what I did, I intentionally go to my bag, मैंने वो उठाया और उसको उसी जगह पे रख दिया जहाँ से मुझे ध्यान नहीं रहेगा, not into my along my laptop, मैंने वही रख दिया. I sit into the meditation and मैंने 5 मिनट बाद माइंड को just giving the thoughts कि नहीं जब मैं सुबह जाऊँगा, it's a strong thought I given कि जब भी मैं बाहर जाऊँगा सुबह क्या करना है मुझे याद रहेगा. यू कांट इमेजिन, वो 7 डे से मेरे घर पे पड़ा था. जैसे मैं सुबह उठा मेरा पहला ही थॉट 10:30 पे जब मुझे निकलना था अल्टीमेटली दैट केम इनटू माय माइंड कि ये लेके जाना है. सो दैट इज द फ्रिक्शन यू क्रिएटेड. That is my I'm trying to tell you the real example ultimately. If I have put in the alarm, obviously वो alarm आ ही जाएगा टाइम पे जब 10:30 you have to go or 10:40. Okay, that is something. So you don't have to be use your brain simply. You understand what I'm trying to say? आप बैठेंगे, आप जाएंगे and you simply go into that. So here is the method first. Whenever you using the tool, whenever you writing a script, whenever you writing anything ultimately, always put your mind into the work. That is very, very important. Not offloading everything to the tools. They are a great friends, but don't make them a best friend. That is a problematic ultimately. Okay. Second thing is this, which is called information triangulation mediation. That is also very important when we talk about AI proof or your critical thinking. This is again a term which is given by neuroscientists and psychological guys. Okay, so what is called triangulations? Triangulation is called the third viewpoint. You understand, or not? Third viewpoint. So I'll again give you one examples. So for example, I'm going to a college. What's your names? Anurag. So for example, Anurag is my colleague. Let us assuming. Okay. And sir, what's your name? Manas. So Manas is my manager and me and Anurag is a colleague. I'm just giving an example ultimately. And we are working in one company, correct? So what happened? Let's assume that we have a presentation today, the great presentation in front of client. Okay. So when the presentation about to happens, I'm searching my laptop and I couldn't find the PPT which is about to send by Anurag only. Okay, so I'm frustrated and I came to Anurag and I said that he's an idiot guy. He didn't send me the presentation. I have to present into this. Anurag frustrated more than me. He said that I already sent you the things ultimately. So what we can do, we both came and we went to the Manas. Okay, he's our managers. So we said that he didn't send me the emails or PPT. Anurag saying that he is sending. Manas is scratching his head कि मेरा क्या लेना देना इसमें. You understand or not? Why you bothering me ultimately? Correct? But what I'm trying to tell you here things. Now here is a problem. I am saying that ईमेल मुझे मिला नहीं है. अनुराग बोल रहा है कि मैंने भेजा हुआ है. सो हियर इज द मैनेजर हु स्क्रैचिंग हिज हेड ऑलरेडी. ही इज ऑल्सो फ्रस्ट्रेटेड समवेयर एल्स कि भाई मैं क्या करूँ अल्टीमेटली. बट एनी हाउ इज द मैनेजर, ही हैज़ टू पुट द सोल्यूशन अल्टीमेटली. सो व्हाट्स द सोल्यूशन अल्टीमेटली? व्हाट इज द सोल्यूशन? सोल्यूशन इज दिस कि भाई सबसे पहले ईमेल लॉग्स चेक करेंगे, टाइम स्टैम्प चेक करेंगे. दिस इज द वे अल्टीमेटली व्हाट कैन डू. सो मानस केम टू अस एंड सेड दैट बी कूल, बैठ जाओ, हम ईमेल चेक करते. वी चेक द ईमेल्स एंड वी फाउंड दैट कि ईमेल इज़ देयर. सो अनुराग स्माइल्ड, देखो ही इज़ एन इडियट, मैंने तो ईमेल भेजा हुआ था. देन आई सॉ इट अल्टीमेटली कि भाई ईमेल्स तो भेजा हुआ, हाउ कुडंट आई कांट सी इट अल्टीमेटली. देन आई एम थिंकिंग the real problem came ultimately. Real problem is the name of the file is wrong itself ultimately, because you know that in corporate what we are doing, the file name hash ppt final dot v1 v2 v3, this is the usually we do ultimately. So where is the things ultimately? I'm also not wrong because the file which I'm expecting it is not came to me. Anurag is also not wrong because he also sent the file. Okay, but what is the real crux of the story? There is Manas came and he actually given us the third point of view. Okay, so the point here it is this: whenever we talking to each other, we are fighting to each other, so we are not supposed to say that you are wrong. No, you are wrong. Instead we say that before fighting, let's sit and check the facts. That is called the triangulations way ultimately. So whenever there is a conflicts, ultimately go on fact by fact ultimately. Otherwise what happens? I'm right in my brain, he is right on his brain. Okay, he feel that I'm idiot, I will feel that he is an idiot. Okay, and Manas feel that we both are idiots. Okay, so the point here it is this, that we need to think that how triangulation will work ultimately. So this is the two ways where we have to be proof our critical thinking. So you understand what exactly we are trying to say? We have the problems. Okay, the problem is what? Cognitive entropy, aspirational narrowing, and the third problem is dementia or a loss of something. How we can make proof of it ultimately? With these through way. So every time whenever you got a chance, don't offload everything, the tools. Make some frictions in your mind. This is very, very important. And the second thing is this: information triangulation mediations. Don't ever react so fast, I'm right or he's wrong, or he's right or you're wrong. Always check on the facts and then go around it. I'll tell you, this is called the silicon sattery. Actually this is the real examples happening. I'll ask you one question, maybe you can answer. So how many people are using AI? You can raise hand. How many people's? Okay, mostly all are using. I don't know why others are not raising the hands, but mostly are. Now the second question is this: how many people are really believe on AI recommendations? We believe ultimately. Okay, we believe AI recommendations. So what exactly happened? Why this? This is silicon sattery is one of the examples. When this chat GPT came in 2022 or 3, I think, I don't know. After that Google also launched its Gemini features ultimately, and there is one feature in Google that is creative feature in this. So somebody in Italy asked Google that, or if I'm asking you to, that in Italy there is a pizzas are huge. So the point is, the question being asked that how we can stick cheese better, what we have to do while making the pizza so that the cheese stick together in a better way. This is the basic thing, because whenever you eat any pizza, the pizza looks good only when your cheese are sticker better way, in that way. So the question is asked that how you can stick the pizza in a better way. So obviously the answer is putting the oil, or answer is this butter, or maybe any things that can be. But this is the fantastic example is this, that because Google is doing their test into US, and they ask the same question, and Google answer this question is this, that put a glue so that it can better way ultimately. And this is the biggest failure of the Google ultimately. This is the first one. So now Google find out that why it answered that, how you can put a glue and then stick the cheese ultimately in a better way ultimately. The point here it is because it somehow find out the joke or from the internet, because your AI all working based on the data and all. It's sometimes not giving the reasoning around that ultimately. So we need to be very careful while we are using the AI also. So now, up till now, we'll try to do a bit fast. Up till now, we understand that how exactly the technological revolution comes, correct? How exactly the AI is impacting, and the good news is this, that still we can evolve ourselves. Obviously, there is a problems, there is a things coming over there, but yes, there is a good news also. Correct. So today we'll talk about obviously the BK philosophy, also Brahma Kumari's philosophy. What exactly we talking about? So in actually AI also the same philosophy is working, and I'm not talking in Brahma Kumari's also same philosophy working, but the point here it is this: as I told you that AI working on three principles, one is input, one is process, and one is output. Same way human mind also working in these ways: one is input, one is process, and one is output. Okay, same way when it comes to the things in BK, there is a three faculties ultimately. The first faculty is minds, that we call as the thoughts. So initially when I talked about the inputs ultimately, now I'm telling you a very simple example. Anything I'm doing now or anything you are doing now, every times we have to be cross these three faculties. Sometimes it's passing very fast, sometimes it takes some times. Obviously we are so conscious, it is happening so subconsciously that कि हमें पता नहीं चलता, पर होता हमेशा ऐसा ही है. For example, again I'm taking the example of, no, I'm not take Anurag. Let's say I'm taking another example. What's your name? Orange t-shirt? Huh? Ganesh. Okay, let's say I'm taking the example of Ganesh. Okay, so Ganesh is, let's assume he is my good friend ultimately. Okay, he's a good friend of me. So what happened? Ganesh came to me, and he say hello to me ultimately. Okay, and just he say hello to me and he slap on my face. Correct? He just simply slap on my face. This is two way I can do ultimately. One, the first thought came to my mind, why he slapped to me. You understand? This is the thought ultimately. So this is the input. This is the faculty mind, where is the input is coming into my mind. Okay, why he made the thought ultimately. The second faculty is called intellect, where actually I'm making the judgment or making the decisions. If my thought is ki how he can slap me, if the thought came in this way, so what I will do? I'm just triggering my ego ultimately. So what I will do? I simply slap him also in the same way ultimately. So after intellect, some things you can call sanskar or habits. Automatically that came into my behavior automatically. Ki bhai isne mara kaise aise? How he can slap on me? I'm telling you. Same way he slap on me and the thought coming कि यार क्यों मारा इसने. If I just simply pause for some times and ask myself कि यार क्यों मारा इसने, so maybe immediately the thought change, intellect immediately will take pause. और फिर मैं शायद उससे पूछूंगा कि भाई क्यों मारा ultimately. So जो मुझे slap मारना है वो मैं नहीं मारूंगा. I'm telling you. So I'm telling you कि आप इसको एक very simplistic way में सोचिए. The point here it is this कि suddenly I meeting the Ganesh and he slapped on my face. So मैं भी बहुत fast भी मार सकता हूँ और मैं नहीं भी मार सकता हूँ. So these three faculties immediately happening inside me ultimately. Thought immediately coming, intellect immediately took the decision, and immediately my habits come ultimately. Same way. For example, there is a one guy or they are sitting behind. If he is very good with me, okay. So if he is good with me, immediately smile will come on my face. Smile is nothing but a sanskar, habits ultimately. How this smile came to me? Because he's a good friend of mine. So immediately thought came to me ultimately, yeah, he's my friend. Okay, immediately intellect giving you the decisions कि नहीं यार ये अच्छा है, he is my friend, automatically smile came to me. Same way अगर he is my enemy or I didn't like at all him, so he say me hello, मैं hello भी नहीं करूँगा. Why? Because immediately thought came to my mind कि he is not the guy who I'm acquainted with ultimately. So what will happen? Immediately my intellect will take the decision and sanskar will do things. Same things happening on the AI side also ultimately. What exactly happened? We are giving the inputs. It is the data input simply ultimately. The model, which is nothing but the intellect of the artificial intelligence, and at the end the outcome is coming is the habit. Okay, so important thing is this, the Brahma Kumari's philosophy is that ki we are a soul at the end, and this soul having consisting of three faculties. One is mind, the second is intellect, and the third is sanskaras. If we basically simply working on these three faculties, automatically we will going to be uplift our life. Automatically we will uplift our life. The one example I already given yesterday, what happened with me ultimately. Because why that thought came to me my mind कि भाई मैं क्या इतना भी याद नहीं रख सकता. Because while I'm going for a sleep, मैं थोड़ा meditation में बैठा था. Once you into the meditations, you're trying to be slow down your thoughts automatically. When you're trying to be slow down your thoughts automatically, positive thoughts emerge in your minds. Okay, so at the end, when you have to be evolve with the technology, and now it is very very relevant. Why? Because I already told you in the previous in the previous time that previous technology is not at all interfering with us, but now the technology is interfering our sanskars, interfering our minds, interfering our intellect also. So it's very very important for us also that we have to be take some time daily and think very very minutely with these three layers, that is called mind and intellect and sanskars. Last we'll do some meditation based on that also. Second, how we can strengthen the intellect. We call it as a decision makers ultimately. So the AI threat, I'm talking in terms of the AI threat, is the external intellect. External intellect is means what? For example, you are thinking about buying a cloth. तो आप 2 मिनट के लिए, 1 सेकंड के लिए, 30 सेकंड के लिए यू आर जस्ट, आप वहां पर रुकिए. यू विल अमेज दैट कि आफ्टर दैट सेम रील विल कम टू यू. आपने ना बोला ना कुछ किया ना नथिंग, बट व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैपेंस, नो वी आर टेकिंग दैट कि हाउ मच टाइम्स यू आर होल्डिंग ऑन दैट रील. अल्टीमेटली ऑटोमेटिकली दैट स्टार्ट पॉपिंग अप इन योर फोन्स ऑटोमेटिकली. पहले क्या होता था, वी आर टॉकिंग कि भाई एवरी टाइम दे आर लिसनिंग, फोन्स आर लिसनिंग एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट, बट नाउ दे नो नीड टू बी लिसन टू यू ऑल्सो. यू सिंपली scrolling and for the 5 seconds they are every time analyzing you. Ultimately every time analyzing you, they saying that कि your average time for scrolling the one reel is let's say 4 second, पर कोई reel पे आप 10 second रुक गए, so 6 second why he will, so he try to be pop up that reels itself only. So automatically the next time what happens, you will be on the mobile for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. It's continuous ultimately. How the AI, so that is the external intellect which trying to be control you. That is how exactly the things ultimately. But in the BK fix, what exactly we are here taught always, it's a Hindi word where we are talk about vichar sagar manthan. That means you have to be put your thoughts into that ultimately. For example, the example I already given you, you have to create the cognitive frictions ultimately. Or for example, I'm giving you the same example. Let's say you just scroll down and for 6 seconds you just hold on the one reel and it's suddenly popping out. So what exactly the fixing, you have to think on it ultimately ki why yaar, what happens, why it is coming to me. So let's not use this for a 1 day or 2 day or 3 days. So automatically algorithm reset itself ultimately. So next time शायद फिर से नहीं आएगा वो. So the point here it is for every action again you have to be think around that. External intelligence always they are forcing on you, but you have to be set back and think on that ki how I can do that. The second thing is what we are trying to do here is the traffic control, and this is very very important. Now I'm telling you how the AI threat is. Algorithms are designed in such a way that I'm telling you they are continuously engagements. People wanted every times you have to be continuous engagement. That's they want your mind of state always in the constant go mode. That's why you will see that ads are coming in that way, you're scrolling coming in that way. That's why you will see that कि हम लोग 30 seconds की reels 3 hours तक देख पाते हैं, 4 hours तक देख पाते हैं. You understand or not? लेकिन हम 10 minutes नहीं देख सकते. Why? Because all the algorithms are designed in that way only कि आपके mind को continuously engage किया जाए and somehow exactly it is weakening your mind. That is called the cognitive weakening ultimately. But here also in Wiki philosophy we having called this is the traffic control. What? By intentionally stopping the loop. There is a one way. So we have a one way in through that कि भाई आप काम कर रहे हो suddenly you stop and relax and just be in the meditation process. तो आप सोचो जो continuously आप कर रहे हो you are breaking the loop. Once you break the loop, there always be a chance that you came out of that. There always be a chance you are came out of that. But वो loop को break करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And it's not breaking. Why? Because हम continuously we are engaging our mind. And after 3-4 hours we are simply, our mind is completely full of fog and we have anxiety and we have something कि ऐसा तो कभी हो ही नहीं सकता है कि 3 hours आपने रील देखा फिर बोलते नहीं अभी तो मैंने बहुत काम करना है मुझे, मैंने रील देख ली थी. It's not like this. हम इतने थक जाते हैं कि है कोई कि नहीं भाई मैं we made the schedule in that way कि मैं आज 4 घंटा रील देखूंगा उसके बाद करूंगा, 4 घंटा पढ़ाई करूंगा, इट्स नेवर हैपेंड, यू अंडरस्टैंड ऑन, बिकॉज वी आर नेवर ब्रेकिंग द लूप. और जब हम ब्रेक लेते हैं, माइंड इज ऑलरेडी इन टू दैट स्टेज वेयर इट इज ऑलरेडी वीकनिंग, फॉगी, सो वी हैव एंजाइटी एंड हम बोलते हैं नहीं यार थक गया, अब सो जाते, कल देखेंगे. दिस इज हाउ द थिंग्स इज हैपनिंग. सो the fix is this, that ki just take out 1 or 2 minute out of that ultimately and simply sit and then try to find out कि भाई ठीक है कि लूप ब्रेक करना, ऑटोमेटिकली आपको लगेगा ठीक है अभी काम करते हैं. दैट इज द फिक्स. सो these 3 faculties, how exactly it works ultimately. Then the third, which we are talking about, sanskar. So it's called discerning information or vibrations. This is also very important. So what exactly AI threat? AI create a beautiful poem about peace, but it doesn't feel peaceful. It is a hollow text ultimately. एग्जाम्पल सही बात है कि नहीं सही बात है? वो इट कैन क्रिएट अ मच बेटर देन ह्यूमंस, बट इज इट रियली इट कैन फील? एंड व्हाट इज डिसर्निंग? दैट मीन्स अप्रिशिएटिंग समवन, or to see, or having the ability to see a special into in someone. For example, he has Anurag has some good quality, so if I am a person who having the discerning information, so I will see some very good into that ultimately, correct? So this way, when we changing our mind, what exactly happen automatically? We always try to feel in a good way ultimately. So what is the BK fix? Meditation help you to develop that prakhar shakti. That means same way, discerning power ultimately. What it means? That you can write a poem ultimately. For example, if I write a poem, so you can appreciate me ultimately. I can make you feel, I can make you feel that yeah, this is how the beautiful it is, correct? If you listening the music, it's beautiful musics were there ultimately. But if I came to your home and if I'm a musician, for example, just assume, and मैं अगर गिटार बजा रहा हूँ, तो that you feel better ultimately. So we have to be prepare our mind continuously to be appreciate. This is we have to do over with children also. Sometimes what we are trying to do, I'm busy, you are busy, so what we are trying to give children's, okay, use the mobiles, okay, use the tab, okay, use these things, and because of that we continuously feeding our children's, and we are intentionally weakening their cognitive ability. This is something around that. So everywhere when we feel that around that, so we have to be do this kind of fixes with us daily levels, then I think we can adopt in a good way. And cleaning the sanskar, this is the third faculty where exactly we are talking, and that is called the subconscious mind. So AI threat is that AI trained on very old data ultimately. It is full of bias, it is full of data points and all these things. If we use AI too much, it start adopting these machines, and it's create the bias in our mind also ultimately. So what is the best way? We have to be sit again into the mind, again the thought level we have to clean, again we have to be go into the intellect level, how I can take the decision based on that, and then somehow we have to be do at the sanskar levels, correct? Same way at the starting of the lectures we discussed, AI is nothing but the input, process and output. When something is wrong, we have to be start working from input. We are not focusing on the output. Output automatically will will change if we work on the input, if we work on the thought level, if we work on the thought level, if we interpret in a proper way, we process in the proper way, automatically your sanskar will do. If you wanted to for example take 4 hour 5 hour sleep and feel happy, so obviously you have to be make whole day consume the data in that way, which is going to be help to you in a good sleep ultimately. If you only focusing on the sleep and neglecting the whole day journey, that never will going to be help ultimately to you. Okay, so that's how these 3 faculties work. So BK fix is nothing but the Raj Yoga meditations which we usually do, and that is nothing but it's connecting the soul to the supreme soul. That means this is the energy, and when we connect to the supreme energy, it automatically feels our power ultimately. This is what we trying to do. Again, you people are AI guys, so don't try to use again AI into the meditations. I don't know whether you can do or not ultimately. Yesterday or 4-5 days back, somebody actually giving a joke on this. That's why I included here AI meditation gone wrong ultimately. So you know that Alexa, correct? Okay, so assuming again I'm taking the example of Manas only. So Manas, if trying to be use the meditation using AI, so assuming Manas went into home, okay, and he said to his wife ki aaj mujhe disturb nahi karna, I'm going inside the room and I'll sit and I'll do the meditations. Okay, so what he'll do, he'll tell Alexa is there ultimately कि भाई मैं meditation करने बैठूंगा, so ठीक है, ultimately something like this. So it's all about thought ultimately, ठीक है. So once he sit like this, और उन्होंने music लगा दिया, let assume BK music ही लगा दिया अपने, ये BK commentary लगा दी. What is the BK commentary? हम लोग हमेशा बोलते हैं feel relax, warm light and all these things ultimately. Okay, as Manas set, the commentary started. You feel warm light. Alexa listens, instead of light he ordering the light from the Amazon. You understand or not? 5 minute बाद क्या हुआ? You sit on the meditation and you end up with the delivery. So don't do these things with you guys. Okay, so try to put your AI aside as much as possible. Correct? Last, your AI proof challenge. Next time when you are about to use AI tool, try these 3 breathe rules from the BK tradition, which we also follow. The first is stop, physically move your hand away from the keyboard first. Whenever you feel that ki nahi yaar zyada ho raha hai, simple, it's very easy. Meditation never is a complex problems. It's never a complex. Simply physically move your head away from your keyboard. This is the first thing you do. Second thing is this: observe, remind yourself that you are the master of the tool. This tool is not your master. That you have to be constantly feed the thought into your mind. Okay, this is the second thing you have to do. Whenever you feel that you are using, even you are scrolling the Instagram also, if you are scrolling the Snapchat also, just remind every time yourself that I am the soul, the master of this body or of these machines. Okay, so you are the master. This is very important. And the third is command. Now use the AI as a slave or tools. Okay, it must help you. It shouldn't be like that you are simply of source whole loading impact to him ultimately. Correct? So at the last, it is important is this key technological, it can upgrade the systems, but spirituality is only the way where we human can upgrade ourselves. Correct? So where we started with how exactly the AI is changing and how is it impacting on the human mind, how we are addicted towards the technological things and digital things, and how we can make ourselves AI proof. Correct? And how the meditation can help us ultimately, because now we are sitting in a very good environment, we feel that happy and all these things, but as we move away from here, ultimately just step out of this campus, in whole life we have a lot of problems, and there our critical thinking is very important ultimately. So how we can save our critical thinking? Because you just imagine, if I'm going to office and there is a a termination letter on my desk, so how should I react? I cannot do anything. But if my mind is strong, if the things is strong, I can evolve very fast according to these things, and then I can came out of that situation very fast ultimately. And human mind is designed in that way itself. Okay, correct? So with this, I will do 5-minute meditations on that, and then we will close this. So when we'll talk about meditation, I'll give you some thoughts ultimately. So don't stress yourself first of all. Okay, ऐसा कुछ है नहीं कि ये वो कुछ नहीं. Simple, try to be relaxed. We'll try to do the meditation in these 3 ways only. Correct? The 3 ways what? We have the mind, 3 faculties: mind, intellect and sanskar ultimately. ठीक है? अब meditation is nothing but connecting the soul to the supreme soul. Correct? So you have to give the thoughts and you have to visualize. Meditation is basically nothing but the combination of thought and visualizations. That's it. Nothing more than that. आप कोई भी meditation में चले जाओ, and that is again scientifically proved. For example, again I'm just starting before meditation. If I'm giving you thought, let's say I'm giving you thought to someone, Ganesh. You just, Ganesh, close your eyes, assuming close your eyes and think about your home. Correct? Immediately his home came into the mind, and automatically that whole system is working in that way. उनको पूरा घर का सोफा कहाँ है, ये कहाँ है, वो सारा दिखने लगेगा ultimately. And after some times he feel that कि नहीं मैं घर जाके आया हूँ. He is physically here ultimately, but how energies were work ultimately. Same way, before doing meditation, I usually told many people that was one experiment done in, I think, late 90s already, the late 90s or early 2000, I didn't remember exactly, where players who are sitting into that, they set into the environment where they given the thought that you just feel that you are running on the track ultimately, and all the body parameters are tracked ultimately. And scientists were shocked that they were sitting, but the continuously thought were feeding that you are running on the track, and automatically their heartbeat, everything exactly the way it is running. So the way it is happening is the combination of these two things ultimately, correct? So मैं अभी बता दे रहा हूँ आपको, imagine क्या करना है, thoughts is a different level वो देंगे, but you just imagine that you are sitting here, simply you are an energy, you are sitting here ultimately. Just imagine, if you feel that you have to close your eyes, you are open to close, you are allowed to close your eyes, there is no problem at all. Okay, you just imagine these things, and whenever you feel something, you feel that this just your energy is looking your body from outside. Just imagine, जैसे हम देखते हैं ना फोटोज में देखते हैं, अपनी वीडियोज में देखते हैं, तो just imagine that your energy is looking your body from outside simply. Okay, and then simply go bit above out of this, and just try to see that this building above these things, you are all sitting here, and just close your eyes, and after that just go beyond this earth, and simply put that there is a supreme soul, you're just sitting in front of that, and that energy is coming to you, simply this way. So this way you can feel that energy. Obviously there always be a difficulty to concentrate on there, but it's once you experience, once you start practicing, it will help you a lot. Okay, so shall we start? I am a powerful energy sitting in the center of my forehead. Just imagine you are an energy, a point of light sitting in the forehead. Just visualize that this point of light is controlling the whole body. Just visualize this point of light radiates all around. Feel that this radiate the energy all around. This energy goes to your whole body. Slowly, this point of light start moving away from the body. Just visualize you see your body from the outside. You are the star of light, that is your energy, just going away. See this whole building from outside. Just imagine you are traveling and going out of the space. You're going to meet the Supreme Soul. Slowly imagines as you are light, the Supreme Soul is also full of light. Just visualize You are in front of the Supreme Soul and sitting there, taking the whole energy into you. This energy charging you. You feel peaceful. You feel pure. You feel relaxed. You feel content. This whole energy from the Supreme Soul is coming to you. You becoming peaceful. Slowly, slowly now, you are coming back. Just visualize you are a point of light and you are coming back. Slowly, slowly you are entering into your body. Again sitting on your forehead. And the energy is radiating through all the body. You are now ready to go with a relaxed mind. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Ashwani bhai. I think we got a lot of knowledge about AI. Yes. And of course, also the BK fixes. So, to overcome the risks and the different impacts which AI is bringing. What I really liked was like he clearly defined any change, it is associated with the chaos. But this too shall pass, but the journey is up to us. Do we want to upgrade ourselves or feel helpless that things are going haywire and everything is under chaos? So with the amazing tools and fixes, I think we can at least pick one from the things that he shared. Anyone who would like to share what they would want to try? Maybe the traffic control, cognitive friction. Amazing. I think his personal example of how to regaining control of his, the key strengths that our brain has, our mind has, again creating that friction to reuse them. So perfect. So it was an amazing session, and indeed it says a lot why he has done that Manan Chintan part on this, bringing the synchrony between his professional expertise as well as his experience of spirituality. That is why he has also been awarded, having that bringing innovation. He has been awarded by CII and other entrepreneur organizations. So with this, we would like to conclude today's session, but before we disperse, there are few announcements. So of course, I think today's session is the best segue to the next session that is coming up at Shanti Sarovar. It would be a retreat for different professionals in IT and IT-enabled services, our series of Inner Excellence retreats. And the next retreat will happen on April 25th. And the speaker is traveling all the way from Delhi. She is a Guinness World Record holder, multiple India World Records in relation to mind power. She is specially a trainer of children in mind power, memory tricks, but for us, I think she will bring in the aspect which Ashwani bhai said. So it would be on self-directed change. It is inculcating that you're empowering the master within. So you can register for this retreat. It is visible on our homepage, www.shantisarovar.org. On the homepage it will be visible. You can register. The same speaker will take the Sunday talk on parenting skills. So all parents and your friends who are parents, please do invite them. It will be a wonderful session because I think AI is also